Are you a left-behind parent who has been victimised by family court corruption? The term family court is designed to portray itself as a judicial institution that looks out for the best interests of a child. The overwhelming reality for many is the discovery that the name of the court, like the industry and players that stem from it, judges, divorce lawyers, mediators, custody evaluators, and title IVD beneficiaries, is often a wolf in sheep's clothing. By the time a left-behind parent looks around and identifies the non-adhered to court procedures, administrative rule non-compliance, and abundant violations of many rules of professional conduct, and understand the true nature of the apparatus at play, it's often too late, because those institutions and people tasked to help you have shown their true colours, and they have little to do with the symbolism of the best interests of the child. Family courts display true clashes that pit the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law in a manner that tears parents' lives apart, harms children, and financially ruins so many people, while sustaining a thriving, corrupt, and lucrative criminal enterprise. The institutional corruption, especially in case of parental child kidnapping, is a more mechanical environment that many players operate within and manipulate. Elected family court officials who hold the power of reforming the many laws and practices in state legislatures across the country should recognise the large numbers of the voting public, where such ordeals of divorce and custody impact large constituencies that are not only sizable but bipartisan, where reforms to these systems are number one issue to them. While many of the elected officials receive letters, phone calls, emails, and in-person appeals from parents' court and tormented in these ordeals, little actions or improvement come to fruition, and instead, many often get directed elsewhere in a never-ending wild goose chase. The International Criminal Court Against Child Kidnapping, www.childabductioncourt.eu, has worked with about 50 parental child kidnapping cases across the world. Our experience shows that there is no responsibility and no accountability in the corrupted family court system. Scores of cases of exhausted families and troubled children. It has been beyond us to turn back on these suffering, crying, and sometimes beaten down individuals. This system cannot be trusted. It does not serve the people. It obliterates families, most often protects a child kidnapping parent, and financially destroys the left-behind parent, simply because it has the power to do so. As left-behind parents stand up for their constitutional and human rights in increasing numbers and engage the family court system, they often find many of their worst nightmares confirmed as to how crooked things are, while absorbing the enormous stress and emotional scarring and trauma that can only come when your beliefs and faith in the law and judiciary system are ruthlessly and utterly shattered. When some of the physical symptoms of a parental child kidnapping victim first appear, many people have the fear of thinking they're having a heart attack, blood sugar imbalance, severe allergic reaction, until it's eventually diagnosed as issues relating to anxiety and often described with many of the same symptoms as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, albeit in these ordeals it can be termed as legal abuse syndrome. The institution, which is the family court judges and parties, culpable for causing so many psychological, mental, and emotional damages, are the same ones claiming to be for the child's best interest. The ones that often force a wrongfully retained child to live as an illegal immigrant, instead of returning the child to its legal domicile, and thus destroy many left-behind parents' ability to provide for their child's well-being and their own. The evidence of liability as to the damage and role played by these courts and their accompanying players upon the many mothers, fathers, and children can be seen in the lives they devastate, as the left-behind parents are stripped of their rights without due process, property, savings, monthly incomes, and ability to provide for their children, families, and themselves, and in the worst cases, denied their freedoms via incarceration in modern-day debtors' prisons. One only has to review the data for the many cases in these courts in cross-referencing and analysing the simultaneous home foreclosures, bankruptcy filings, suicides, and violence to understand the sources and direct correlations to these courts. The International Criminal Court Against Child Kidnapping works on your behalf and reviews the procedural standards in each of the states in order to facilitate the introduction of evidence to clarify these cases, to speed up processing of actions against the corrupt judges, make norms for such offences, and order a reassignment, and declare void all previous unconstitutional judgments and reunite you with your children. If you need assistance to recover your wrongfully retained child, please contact us.